And now moving on, Donald Trump returned to the White House with a big fiscal promise: cut waste, shrink government debt, and bring down America's deficit. But more than a year into his second term, the numbers are moving in the opposite direction. The U.S. has already crossed $14 trillion in total debt. So what went wrong? Well, from DOGE and tax cuts to tariffs in the Iran war, this is how Trump's promise of fiscal discipline turned into a bigger borrowing problem. Take a look at this next report for more.
We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget.
As one of Trump's first measures to reduce the growing U.S. deficit, the administration created DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk initially targeting as much as $1 trillion in annual savings.
It's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
But the scale of actual savings fell far short of that ambition, and the broader spending picture remained large. The result? No real impact and concerns over cuts to essential services. Then came Trump's flagship tax and spending package, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The administration argued that lower taxes would stimulate investment, growth and economic activity. USA. But there is a straightforward fiscal trade-off. Lower taxes mean lower government revenue unless spending falls enough to compensate. So Trump's fiscal strategy effectively became a bet. Cut taxes now, grow the economy faster, and hope stronger growth offsets the lost revenue. But that growth has not been enough to prevent deficits from remaining historically large. Then came Trump's other major fiscal weapon, tariffs. The administration presented tariffs not just as a trade tool but also as a source of government revenue, and initially revenues did rise. But the inflow has not delivered the fiscal windfall Washington had hoped for. The Treasury actually recorded net outflows of $8.55 billion from customs duties in July. That matters because tariffs were supposed to help offset the cost of tax cuts and spending. Instead, the revenue stream has proved much less reliable. And there is another problem. Tariffs can raise the price of imported goods, adding inflationary pressure. So the policy intended to raise revenue can simultaneously increase costs for businesses and consumers, and potentially keep interest rates higher. And then the fiscal equation became even more complicated. The US war with Iran has created another major spending requirement. In July, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth put the direct cost of the conflict at around $37.5 billion. The Pentagon has also sought additional funding while replenishing weapons and missile stocks used during the conflict. And the war has created cost far beyond the Pentagon. The conflict has disrupted oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, pushing crude prices higher and adding to inflation pressure. At the same time, the Treasury is already paying more to finance America's enormous debt. That means every new dollar borrowed and every old debt that has to be refinanced becomes more expensive. And this is where economics meets politics. The 2026 midterm elections are approaching, and the economy, inflation, and the cost of living are becoming increasingly important political issues. A recent Reuters Ipsos poll put Trump's approval rating at just 33%, the lowest of his presidency. For Trump, therefore, the fiscal challenge is no longer simply about the deficit. It is about whether voters believe the administration delivered on its promise to make the government more efficient, on whether America simply ended up with a bigger debt pile, higher borrowing costs, and another enormous deficit. The midterms will provide the first major political test of that fiscal bet. Business Bureau WION, World is One.